Ossington, the hacker podcast, the dark web today podcast people, and like Mr. Hill and all that, they want you to wake up and like go on Twitter. Come on. Oh.
Hi, good morning.
Hello, how are you, Fed? Good morning. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you too. Thank you for joining us on the Cyber Talk Africa podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really honored.
Yes. On Cyber Talk Africa podcast, we like to feature and interview cybersecurity experts like yourself and people that have very, very interesting cybersecurity story, so to say. But before we start, I would like you to introduce yourself to our audience so they have an idea of who they are listening to.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Alberto Daniel Hill, and I am from Uruguay. I was born in Uruguay. I have always been into the field of cybersecurity. I began when I was 8 years old, and I had my first computer. And incredible, when I was that age, I learned assembler, and I was modifying games using my computer and an assembler. I was getting unlimited lives in games, looking for codes such as load records into registers, and well, I began like that. Then I went to university. I got a degree in computer engineer that I got in 2003. But what I learned in university in when I was studying to become a computer engineer actually didn't was useless for my cybersecurity career. The topics that were covered in the university were not related to security at all. So everything I know, everything I've learned it myself. I have a passion for security, so I spend a lot of time researching. I have an endless curiosity, so I'm always trying to investigate and try to understand how things work in order to try to break them. And well, I have worked. My first work was as in a computer forensics case for a criminal case in Uruguay regarding child pornography. I have worked in auditory. I have worked as a consultant in information security companies, and I have also a PMP certification, a project manager certification, that along with a certification of the ISO IEC 27001 allowed me to lead many projects regarding the implementation of information security management systems based on the ISO IEC 27001. Now I'm focused on researching, studying, and talking to people, creating awareness. I am writing a book. I have already written one book last year, and all my life is around security and hacking and cybersecurity, and I cannot imagine a life without that, because for me, as I told you, it is a passion. It is not a work. It's something that is really part of me, and I just love it. So it's just something that I cannot live without. I cannot imagine a life outside this world.
Right. So you started from editing video games, then after that you had a pretty normal childhood, went to the university, graduated. How did you um, find yourself in hacking? How did you become a hacker?
Well, actually, I be, the thing is that you you don't become a hacker because of your studies. You don't become a hacker because of your experience. You become a hacker when the people in the field of hacking, they start calling you a hacker. They start mentioning you as a hacker. It's something that the community gives to you. It's not something that you can obtain but by your credentials, your education. It's when people in the community recognize your skills, and that's when you become a hacker. I became a hacker in 2017 when I was the first hacker in Uruguay who was arrested for a computer-related crime, and at that point, I became a hacker because people in the community, they really recognized me. They really knew my story, knew about me, and they show a lot of respect for me. And everybody started calling me a hacker. That for me is something that I am proud of. I mean, a hacker is not something like most of the people link to somebody who is a criminal. A hacker is a person who has certain skills that allows them to protect systems, create improvements in systems, and make them more secure. So I can proudly say that I am a hacker, and I became a hacker, as I told you, when the community started calling me a hacker. Even though all of my life I was in that field, the things that I did, the things that I could achieve as a hacker are things that I do not talk about. I do not talk about the things that I have done, that I could do, because I do not want to brag, and it's not something that I want to. I, I don't want to to be famous because of bragging of having done this thing or another thing. It's just something that I do for myself and a challenge for myself, and trying to prove to myself that I can do certain things. So that's basically the story. But a hacker I became when I appear on all the newspapers of my country in the front page.
Right. So, can you give us details as to what happened? What led to your arrest?
Well, it's a very sad story and very hard to believe story that should never have happened. It all began in October of 2014. I was as my at my girlfriend's apartment, and I was with her laptop, and she asked me if I could access to her medical provider in order to set an appointment for a doctor, and she gave me the address of the medical provider, and then she asked me, okay, I will give you my username and password so you can enter. And when she told me that, I told her, I am already in. I'm in the system, and I am the administrator of the system. I have all the privilege of administrator. I can see everything. And that was something crazy. I could access to the system with the username admin and the password admin. That
Wow.
was something very, very, first of all, unexpected, and shouldn't have happened. I mean, for me, it was shocking. So the first thing that I thought was, this system has a huge security issue that needs to be solved immediately, because we are talking about a system that has the information of hundreds of thousands of people, all their medical records. So in less than 5 minutes, I sent an email to the CERT of my country reporting the issue, and that was a Saturday. And they replied to me within an hour or two, and the director of the CERT told me that he confirmed that the report was correct. And well, then I forgot about it, because when you report something to the CERT, you just report. You don't need, and you don't have to be updated on what are the next steps that the CERT makes in order to solve the issue. So that was it. And then in 2015, again, my girlfriend asked me again to enter into the health provider. And when you are into the hacking world and you have certain experience and you enter into a site, you can smell that the system might have a problem, that might not be very secure. So, as I told you, my curiosity is endless, and I'm always looking for everything. And I just try for 5 minutes some things, and I could find out that I could access again to all the information of the system, just modifying some parameters in the URL. I had to change only some sequential numbers that were part of the URL, and I could navigate through all the all the medical information of all the patients of the medical provider, all the information, financial information of the company, and I couldn't believe it. So again, I sent a report to the CERT, and I told them about the problem, and I forgot about that. That was in 2015. In 2017, the Interpol, in September 2017, the Interpol knocked on my door and they arrested me. I was completely lost. I didn't know what was going on. And they took me to the Interpol and they started interrogating me, and they asked me, did I access to certain site of the medical provider? And I answered, yeah, probably. I cannot remember. It has happened many years ago, and it was impossible for me to remember if I accessed to certain URL or certain part of the system. Probably I did, maybe I didn't, but I didn't understand, because I was taking for granted that they were aware of my reports, but later I found out that they didn't know anything about that. At the end of the interrogation, they showed me a piece of paper, printed paper, with a mail that was asking for a certain amount of bitcoins in order not to release the information of the patients, of the users of the system. And they asked me, did you send that? And I said, no, I didn't say that. And one of the guys of the Interpol grabbed a piece of paper and he told me, here I have a record from your ISP saying that the mail was sent from your IP address. At that point, I was very afraid, scared. I felt very uncomfortable in the interrogation. But when he told me that, it was like I couldn't help but smiling, because I knew that he was lying to me, that was not possible. So I told him, I told him with a smile, okay, if you have that paper saying that the email was sent from my IP, then I cannot deny that. I mean, I didn't send the email, but it was sent from my IP. So if you say that, that's it. And then he turned around the page, and he never mentioned that fact again. But then I was taken to court, and before that, they came to my house to execute the search warrant. They spent like 8 hours collecting all my equipment. It was a really disorganized and very unprofessional work during that procedure. And at one point, one of the agents approached me and told me, it is better for you to admit that you sent that email. Otherwise, we will go to your mother's house. We will arrest her. We will make a mess in her house. We will seize all her things. We will do the same with your girlfriend. We will go to her apartment. We will destroy it. We will arrest her. So for you, it's better to confess having sent in the email. And for me, it was like, what do I do? I mean, I wanted to protect the people that I loved, and I hadn't committed the crime they accused me of. So I thought for a second, okay, if I admit that I did that, then I would be able to prove that I didn't, because there is no evidence about that, because I just simply didn't do it. So I can basically look at what they have in terms of evidence, and I can surely prove that I didn't do anything, that I'm not linked to what they were accusing me. So I decided to accept that I did send the email, and well, that was the beginning of the end, because they took me to court. The prosecutor interrogated me with stupid questions because he knew nothing about the case, nothing about the technology. He was just asking me silly questions, and in just a few hours, my lawyer came to me and he told me that unfortunately the judge decided that I should go to prison because she considered me that I was very dangerous because of my high knowledge of computers, and that I could alter the rest of the process if I was not sent to prison. And that for me was the end of the world. This telling me that I was going to prison for me was something I couldn't imagine. It was probably the worst thing that I heard in my life, that I was going to be sent to prison. And I went blank. I couldn't think of anything. I wanted to cry, but I held back the tears, and I had to assume it. I was sent to prison. My lawyer told me that initially it would be 2 months, but the judge denied the being released in that period. They denied many requests for being released, and I spent 8 months in prison, and
Wow.
I was released, and the process is still going on. There is no sentence. I am out actually because I could pay a bail of $10,000. Otherwise, I would still be in prison, and that is very sad for me, because at that point, I learned so many things during this experience that opened my mind and made me understand and see the world through different eyes. And I could understand that at that point that justice is just a beautiful word, a beautiful concept, but in real world there is no justice, because somebody who can pay a bail of $10,000 and be released is not fair, because if you don't have the money, you have to stay in prison, and that is something that is not justice for me. So I was released, and I came to my house. I found in my house about 30 hard disk drives that were on the floor that they didn't seize. It was a disaster, the procedure that they took during the war in my house. And well, the process is going on. I recover almost all of the things that they say, and basically they investigated, but they couldn't find anything more than my false confession of being guilty, because there is nothing that links me to any crime. And while they were investigating the computers and hard disk and all the media that was seized, I was very desperate in order to do that quickly. So I offer the police, I offer the prosecutor the possibility that I was willing to provide them all the credentials to access to all my computers, devices, hardware encoded pen drives, all, all the pins to access to my cryptocurrency wallets, all the credentials to access to my services on the cloud, with my permission, so they could review all the things that I have, all the information that is stored on my equipment, because I have nothing that they could eventually find that is related to any criminal act or any kind of illegal activity. So I offer that, and the prosecutor denied that. They didn't accept that I provide that information to them in order to quickly verify the contents of my media, which was crazy. And it was a very frustrating process that is still going on. And I am fighting against a very powerful system that is evil. And one of the things that really destroyed me and made me realize that I was surrounded by a lot of corruption was that during when I was arrested and sent to court, at the same time the director of the CERT was interviewed by the judge, and the judge asked the director of the CERT, if I had reported anything about the medical provider, and the director of the CERT said that he didn't recall that I had reported anything. That was something that for me was like being stabbed from behind. I mean, first of all, when you are in this field, you can forget about minor incidents. I don't know, a computer infected with a virus or something stupid, but you don't forget if somebody reports you that they can access to a medical provider with the password, with the username admin and the password admin. That's something you don't forget. And second, I have the emails with the report that have a ticket number, because you send the report and it enters into a system of the CERT and generates a report number, and all he had to do was to check in the system to answer that question. And if he answered, he doesn't remember, he doesn't recall that, for the judge it means that I was lying, because if he doesn't if the director said he didn't remember, for the judge it means that I was lying, because she would believe the director of the CERT and not me. So that hurt my credibility, and everything I said they're probably allied by the judge. So that's probably one of the reasons she took so extreme measures, such as sending a person who is not violent, has no records of any criminal activity, to prison. Because sending somebody to prison is basically destroying the life of a person. Anyone who is in prison is basically somebody whose life is going to change forever, and it's going to basically can destroy a person, a family. It can cause a very so much damage to a person. So those things cannot be taken so lightly. They should be done in a very responsible way, with competence, with clear evidence, facts that support and make a conclusion without any doubt that there is a crime committed by the person, and that didn't happen in my case. So the frustration for me was enormous, was huge.
Right. So, at any point after it got released, did you feel that maybe this was a setup, and did you try to investigate who sent the original email demanding for payment through Bitcoin?
Well, one thing is that I didn't have the information in order to do that, because in the press release of the police, in everywhere they said that they could trace me because the IP address where the email was sent was linked to me, which is a lie. There is no single page in the file of the case linking any IP address to me or to anybody. They didn't gather any IP address from the email that was sent, and they just came to me because on January of that year I entered into the medical provider, and I used to do it on all the systems that I enter. I mean, the curiosity again killed the cat and it killed me. I just execute a port scan on the system, and that was logged by the medical provider, and that's the only thing why they came to me, because there were some records that there was a port scanning on that system, which is something that is not a crime. That is something that is, I mean, in this field, most of people do that just for curiosity, and that was the reason. The email was not linked to any IP, and I have no elements in order to try to know where that email was sent from. But there are some things that are curious. In the email, they say that they should send certain amount of bitcoins to an address, and then there is no address in the email. So even if the company wanted to pay for the ransom, it wouldn't be possible, because there was no Bitcoin wallet address to deposit the bitcoins in. So that was so ridiculous. I mean, I didn't understand how that was considered a ransom. That was something very amateur, something very naive. I don't know. I don't have the answer to many questions, but I do know for sure that all this is something that is not serious. There's something behind all this that is something I don't know, but the things that they have told to the media, the things that I have read on the file, they don't make any sense. There are many things ridiculous. So that also adds more frustration to me, because I want to know, I want to be able to know the truth behind all this, and I don't have the elements in order to do this. All I know is that the health provider, a month after this supposed attack, had 10 people that were arrested and sent to prison for fraud, because this company was involved in a fraud regarding acquiring people in their company. I mean, it was a fraud behind that was running in that medical provider. So I don't know. They wanted to distract the attention of somehow, and they created this in order to distract attention, the eyes of the people. I don't know. That's the only theory that I have. But the thing that I don't understand is a key element is the declaration of the rector of the CERT, that he said that he didn't remember that I report that. For me, it's something that I don't understand, and it is really something extremely important in this case.
Right. So now, do you have anything against the healthcare service provider, the your government, or do you just feel okay, this also shall pass?
Uh, this also just pass. I mean, uh, what happened, uh, and I just never commit a crime. I never in my whole life. I mean, I never gain any kind of compensation or gain any money or any kind of things from the hackings that I perform. Most of the times when I detect a problem in a system, I just report them in order, because I above everything, when you are in this field, you have the ethics. Ethics are the baseline of everything. Ethics are the starting point of being a hacker. You have to have clear your values, your ethics, and then comes the technical skills and all the rest. And uh, after all that happened to me, uh, I'm the same person with the same values, and uh, I just assume things the way they are. No. I never thought about revenge or trying to do anything that was not correct. I just behave the way I think I should behave as a person that only wants to do the good things and help others and act in a responsible way, because in this society we need to be all responsible. We all need to be aware that there's no it's stupid and silly to behave in not in a proper way. And I am proud that my reputation, despite this incident, has really been increased a lot. I mean, people that really show me a lot of respect, of admiration. They told me that I'm an inspiration, and that's really gratifying. Now I'm helping people in cybersecurity in order to give them advices, tell them answering questions about certain topics that they would like to know, guide them into things that they want to explore. So I am here to help, not to create damage or to cause trouble. I just want to help.
Right. So, speaking of hacking and cyber attacks, this year alone we've had some monumental news around cyber attacks, the solar wind to the pipeline, colonial pipeline attack, and then the healthcare systems in Ireland. I would like you to just quickly mention 5 hacker groups you know, how dangerous you feel they are, and maybe also their popular exploits.
Yeah, well, actually, I would like first to mention for me uh, three attacks that I consider are probably the most important that have happened for me. Something that is I admire. I mean, I do not endorse or justify or support, but the Bangladesh bank system hack for me was something that was really interesting and very sophisticated. the way they could move I think it was $80 million from a bank account in Bangladesh to the Federal Reserve in the USA, and they moved that to, I think, to Thailand or a place like that, and they cash the money into casinos.
Yes,
And
in Hong Kong.
in Hong Kong, yeah, that's right. And that was something really, really interesting, the way they hacked the uh, Swift system, and the way they did it in certain date that they were unable to verify the transactions, and because actually the criminals committed committed a mistake, they weren't able to move $1 billion. That was the amount of money that they were trying to move. So that was one of the most interesting attacks that I know of. Then the second one is the solar winds attack that happened last year, which was really huge. And then the attack of Stuxnet for me was also something very interesting, in terms that they could attack a nuclear facility that was not connected to the internet, using very sophisticated software in order to infect the computers and manipulate a nuclear system. So those for me are the attacks that are the most interesting. Then for me, the groups, I can tell you that I don't know if you know the equation group is a group that was founded in 2001, and they created many kinds of sophisticated software, and this equation group is theorized that they were the creators of the worm that took down the Iran nuclear program. So I think those are very interesting people. Then the shadow brokers that were discovered in 2016 are another group that everything from the NSA is to foreign spies. The activities the action is something that is theorized that they were behind the creation of the WannaCry and not Beta ransomware. That is something that is milestone in the world today, because the ransomware problem that we have is something that is out of control right now, and I don't think that it's going to be solved soon. And I think that the shadow brokers were a group that triggered all these problem with the ransomware. Then we have Bureau 121, that is from North Korea, and they hacked to try to raise money for the regime, and they are responsible for many cyber attacks and crime, high profile attacks, and well, they infected hundreds of thousands of devices and billions of dollars of hackers, and this group, the Bureau 121, is supposed to be the one that committed the massive leak in Sony Pictures in 2014. And well, that was and the other group that I think it was very notorious. But what I want to say is that the most dangerous groups of criminals, of cyber criminals that are out there, without any doubt, are those that we do not know, that we have never heard about, are those that have probably committed a lot of crimes, made a lot of damage, and nobody is aware of. They are so good that nobody knows about them, and I am completely sure that there are many groups out there that are so good, so skilled, with so much resources and everything, that they have not been detected and nobody knows about them, but they are operating in the dark. So those groups are, for me, the most dangerous ones, those that we do not know.
Right. So you've not mentioned Dark Side or Anonymous, which are two popular hacker groups the average person knows about. What is your opinion on Anonymous and Dark Side?
Well, on Anonymous, my opinion, I didn't mention them because I do not consider them as being a group of hackers. Not a group of hackers that develop very complicated hacks or anything, but they are an organized group of people that work together, and they just try to make changes in the world. But what they do is they have millions of people that support them, and they are tools. For example, when they create attacks of the distributed denial of services, they just give the people a piece of software to run from their computers and attack certain objectives in order to take them down. But that's not something sophisticated. But I appreciate in Anonymous actions such as going after pedophiles networks. That is something that it is questionable, because those things should be in the hands of law enforcement, not of people. But the philosophy of Anonymous is respectable. They try to make this a better world, and they take actions when they notice that things are going wrong, when they think there is corruption, when they think there are organizations that are doing things wrong. So it's respectable, Anonymous. It's something that I really respect. I am not associated in any way with any group of activists, but I respect Anonymous, and well, I think that they have done things that made a change in the world, and they have the power to make changes and improve things. But many of the people of Anonymous have ended up in prison, so it is risky when you are trying to do justice by your own hands without outside the law, even though your purpose is something that is good. it's always dangerous, and I think we should follow the rules of society, with the legal system, the law enforcement. Even though I was a victim of incompetence of the law enforcement, I have to say that if the justice should be handled by the justice, and maybe Anonymous and any other groups do not believe in justice like I do. I mean, I don't believe in justice, but we live in a society where things work in a certain way that it should be like that. Regarding dark side, they use attacks of ransomware and extortion, and they are very powerful, and they cause many damage. But I am not very into their. I am not very inside their information, the way they work, so I cannot give an opinion about them. But any organization that uses ransomware and extortion is very dangerous and should be prosecuted for sure. That's my opinion.
Right. So recently we've seen a rise in state-sponsored hacker groups. North Korea, Russia, China. What does this mean for the rest of the world? And do you think this is a good thing?
No. Actually, well, let's talk about NSO and Pegasus. That is something that is huge. Pegasus, the developed by NSO, the company from Israel, has been selling their software to spy on people's lives. They infect the cellulars of the people with zero-click attack, which means that the people that have the iPhones do not have to do anything. They just are target and victims of the attack. And even though they can have the cellular updated to the latest version of everything, they can do not click on suspicious links. No, they can do everything correctly, but they still can be infected by those devices, by those software. And those are software that are sold to the government. The government spent millions of dollars on those software, and that is to gather intelligence inside countries about the politicians, journalists, to know what they are investigating. In Mexico, it's something very huge because it involves the cartels of the drug, the people that the cartels of drugs are being investigated with the software Pegasus. And the problem is that the drug cartels also have software that intercepts the communications of the police, apart from giving money to the police for revealing information. And many people have died because of that information that was gathered with those espionage cellulars software. So that is an issue, and the state-sponsored hacking, it's a reality, because right now there is a war that is being taking place. There is a war that is cybernetic. Countries are attacking each other with computers. The weapons right now are not arms, guns. No, the weapons now is cybernetic. The army the army is a cyber army that the countries have. The power that Israel has right now regarding the skills and power and human knowledge to attack to commit cyber attacks is huge. Israel has prepared a real army of people that is able to do anything in a computer war. Uh, in China, they also have a potential incredible, and China is constantly attacking the USA and vice versa. Russia is attacking the USA. They are all being attacked, and we don't know actually uh, what's really going on. I just know that the attacks and the war is being occurring right now, but the governments do not release the effects or the impacts of those attacks because they don't want to be exposed and to let the world know that there have been victims of certain attacks. So we just know that the attacks are going on. We just don't know the magnitude of them, and it's something that is going to grow more and more. And well, what can I tell you? I prefer a cyber attack rather than a war with weapons where people are actually going to be killed, and the the the, the price the price that they have to pay is with human lives, even though the potential of a cyber war is also huge. They can destroy critical systems in the world. They can destroy the financial system of a country, which means they can destroy the economy of a country, causing a lot of problems, such as stopping a country without a financial system working. That might that will damage a whole population of a country. But we are not talking about people being shot and destroyed by bombs. So it's a new reality. The war is on its zeros and ones on wires, and it's something that we have to accept, and it's going to be increased more and more with technology growing. And what scares the more, I told you, the hacking groups most dangerous are those that we don't know. The things, the cyber attacks that are going on right now, most dangerous are those that we don't know. So we don't really know what serious things are happening right now. And I am sure that many attacks, very sophisticated, are going on and are being successful, and we do not know about them.
Right. Thank you so much, Alberto, for your time. It has been great listening to you. And on my notepad here, I still have so many questions to ask you, and we can go on for hours. But I would like us to end this episode here, then schedule another interview for another time, because I still have questions around Colonial Pipeline attack, what really happened, the Kaseya attacks, and all the other famous cyber attacks the world is currently facing. But I don't want to hold you too much, and I would also like to bring you back when we start the video edition of the podcast, which I think a lot of people are looking forward to. So once again, thank you so much for your time, Alberto. Thank you for sharing your story with us, your background, how you were wrongfully incarcerated by the government, mainly because they don't understand what hacking is and what cybersecurity is and what is going on. And also, I believe maybe because this is just a setup to cover up a more a bigger plot by some people to actually defraud the company or the country as a whole. This episode is going to be edited and shared with you later in the week, and we then post it on our social media handles. But before then, I'm going to keep in touch, and I'm also going to maybe ask you a couple of questions to add to the episode later on.
Perfect.
Before,
I have no problems. That's wonderful. I really would like to keep talking about these topics. I really enjoy talking about these topics, and you can count on me for whatever you want.
right. So, any forwards before we round up?
Well, I would like to say that for me, hacking is my life, and those who want to enter into the cybersecurity career, I always tell them that they need to feel the passion to do it, because it's a field that affects your life, affects your context, affects your relationship, your life, your family, and it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody because we are sometimes under a lot of pressure, and things like what happened to me can happen to other people, and you have to feel passion for this. If somebody wants to enter into cybersecurity only because of the lackage of people in this field, and the high salaries that are being paid, if you are here for the money, then don't enter into the cybersecurity field, because you